Right, Paul, we're just going to let everyone into the room now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our webinar. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes just to allow those people who are waiting to enter the room. I see there's 10 of you attending. I hope you all can hear me. Just to a little bit of housekeeping, just to let you know that we are recording this session and it is also being broadcast live as we speak on YouTube. So you can actually watch this again. So if there's anything you've missed or anything like that, you can pick it up again on our Ground Source Heat Pump Association channel. And please subscribe and give it a like. There's plenty of content on there that I'm sure you will all enjoy. And I'm going to pass you over to Paul, who's been on the council for 4 years, Paul Leedham. He's also an MCS installer, and he also is the chair of our training working group. So he's very knowledgeable. And just a quick one, after his presentation today, he will answer any questions. If you do want to ask any questions, we have a Q&A box. And if you could kindly put them in there, I will keep an eye on chat, but we would prefer if you could put any questions you have in there, and there'll be opportunity for Paul to answer any he gets. So without further ado, I'm going to be very quiet now and hide, and I'm going to pass you over to Paul. Paul, over to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the latest instalment of the Ground Source Heat Pump Association webinar. So I will share my screen and we will begin. So my attempt here is to give you some kind of insight into heat pumps and installers and the road ahead. And for the intuitive ones of the group, in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see that I wrote this a year ago. Actually, I am fibbing. I made a mistake with coronavirus and everything. It actually says 2020, it should say 2021. So heat pump and installers, the road ahead. So here's some information with regards to contacting Ground Source Heat Pump Association initially, admin at gshp.org.uk and gshp.org.uk website. There'll be some details if you want to ask further questions outside of this later with regards to Secretariat. So then, this is data that was gathered from MCS, Micro Generation Certification Scheme. This data relates to almost the last 10 years of the number of installations in the UK that have been registered through the MCS. And the reason why I've placed this on here is to give you an idea of the different technologies and the deployment over the years. So as you can see in 2011, relatively small number of air source and ground source. And hopefully if you can see this properly, air source is the blue line, ground and water source orange, biomass in grey, solar thermal in yellow. And what you can see is gradual increase and then some fluctuation, and then a start of a ramp up, especially on air source. And really, I suppose with ground source, it's remained constant. So what we've got as this data is ratified, the 2020 data isn't fully ratified yet, but what we've got there is almost 14,000 heat pump installations, obviously more air than ground source. And what this is showing us is a gradual ramp up in heat pump deployment. And I suppose in some respects, the tariff mechanisms that were in place, especially for non-domestic systems, didn't really reflect and give fair competition to ground source heat pumps versus biomass, etc. But as we start to get towards, as we get towards 2019, we start to see a ramp up, especially in air source and increased deployment. Now, this isn't all the heat pumps installed in the UK. This is probably 50%. So we're looking in the region of between 25 and 30,000 heat pumps installed per year in the UK market. And current requirements under renewable heating incentive, I know every installation doesn't necessarily go for renewable heating incentive, and the non-domestic renewable heating incentive is about to end this month, and we only have a year left of domestic side. The requirements are, which is different to gas and oil in some respects, a certain size and scale. Heat loss calculations need to be done so that we can, size and scope the deployment of the heat pump. Design of the system, which heat pumps are less forgiving than gas and oil technology, so we've got to design the piping system properly, emitter system, collector system on heat pumps, pump sizing, etc. We also need to certify under MCS, and on domestic schemes, we need an energy performance certificate. It's just to give you some background, really. And again, there's going to be a much varied background of people that are going to be watching this. It's just to give an idea of the differences in some respects compared to what we have at gas and oil level. So this projection, there's many projections out there, and this is just one of many with regards to deployment in the UK for heat pumps out towards, and the year I'm going to pick on is 2028 at the moment, because in Boris's 10-point plan last year, Boris declared he wants, and the government, to see 600,000 installations in 2028 alone. This gives an idea with regards to the deployment, the ramp up, scale up, and the deployment into different parts of the market. Now, again, there's information from BASE, there's information from HPA, GSHPA, and this is one of many. So it gives you an idea. In 2028 here, the deployment number is 714,000 heat pumps. So Boris has gone a little bit more conservative, no pun intended, 600,000 heat pumps per year. So the potential number of installers that are needed in this, again, this particular example, I've seen a BASE document where it calls for 60,000. In 2028, 26,591. So the reason why I've put these two slides on here is, if we flip back a slide, 714,000, you can see in 2020 that we only have, an estimated 36,000 heat pumps to be deployed. 2021, 72,000. And I believe some of these projections were based on things like Green Homes Grant and other incentives. And we'll come on to those in another slide. But the political will is there, the target is there. And obviously we now have to try to just, try to gauge how we're going to get there. So the number of installations, but you can't install anything without a workforce. So the workforce has got to increase. So if we only install 20 to 30,000 heat pumps a year now, and if you look at the figure of 600,000, it's between a 20 and 30-fold increase in the deployment of heat pumps per year. And if we say that the number of installers has to change by the same factor, there are only around just over 1,000 trained installers to MCS accredited standards. I might hasten to add, there's other people out there that are installing much larger equipment that don't fall under the MCS category. But that number would then need to increase by a factor of 20 to 30. And I think this is where this conservative estimate came through. So again, 20 to 30,000 installers. BASE wants to see 60,000. There's no doubt that we obviously need more installers, more trained and more credible installers out there to then deliver the numbers that are in the 10-point plan. So what does it demonstrate? The information that we have so far. So it demonstrates political will. It demonstrates an appetite for change. it demonstrates a shift in focus and thinking, and it specifies more or less, specifies heat pumps specifically in the 10-point plan, and other documents, for instance, like the Future Homes Standard, low carbon technologies, and references made to heat pumps in there. So over the years and over the RHI period that we've just gone through for the past 7 years, especially on domestic side, what we're starting to see now is the emergence and really, I suppose, the year of the heat pump, where the heat pump now is put on a pedestal, and a lot of shifting focus from manufacturers, training organisations, trade organisations, everyone pushing in the direction of heat pumps, and again from the 10-point plan, the government as well. So an extract from that: developing greener buildings could deliver around 50,000 jobs in 2030, around 11 billion of private investments, savings of 71 million tonnes of CO2 between the years of 2023 and 2032, and a 16% reduction in UK emissions compared to a 2018. So again, the ambition of 600,000 heat pumps per year by 2028. Future home standards reference and zero carbon ready, green home finance initiatives, and the green banking system that's been set up. To target milestones again, set out a heat and building strategy 2021, launch a world-class energy-related product policy framework, and by 2032 ensure the public sector has reduced its direct emissions by 50% compared to 2017. So I think we can all see, and we all agree, that obviously we have a political appetite and a target, and it's really, I suppose, how we can deliver that into the UK market. So what we've had on incentives so far, excuse me while I just have a slurp. I'm sure we're all familiar with renewable heat incentive, which is due to end in March 2022. Green Homes Grant, although I think the intentions were right, the deployment, delivery, hasn't been as slick as what it could have been. And in some respects, because we already have an industry that is saturated with work as we come towards the end of a tariff system with RHI, especially non-domestic RHI, and then domestic RHI, which is soon to follow. I think the timing for Green Homes Grant was incorrect, even though it was meant to be a stimulus for the economy. And obviously, the situation that we found ourselves in over the last year, globally with the pandemic, I think the intentions were right, but maybe some of the thinking may be incorrect. So Green Homes Grant has seen the funding slashed, and yes, there's been some difficulties with regards to deployment, I suppose, from installers into properties. It's not gone as well as what it could have. However, Clean Heat from April 2022 is under consultation at the moment, and all the lessons that we've just learned from Green Homes Grant can then be applied into the Clean Heat Grant. That's what I'm hoping. But again, that's under consultation. No decisions made at the moment with regards to I suppose there was a £4,000 grant given in the consultation. So this is what we're thinking of giving. There's been many responses to that saying it's not enough and different changes, etc. But that's got another stage to go through at the moment. Future Home Standard, October 2021. Potentially a change in building regulations as a step towards future homes. In 2025, for the Future Homes Standard, it's looking to take on a low carbon technology strategy with reference to heat pumps in there. And with regards to new build properties and the years ahead, it's looking like there's going to be a requirement for MCS certified installers to then install in new build properties, which in my eyes is good, because there's nothing out there at the moment which, no standards or anything other than just building regulations, etc., but nothing that's recognised with regards to any kind of quality management on heat pump deployment into new properties. Only if it's something like a self-build where someone wants to claim RHI. So changes which are coming, which will be beneficial for installers, is streamlining of the MCS process, because it's a quality management system, and the quality management systems tend to be more designed and determined for larger companies rather than 1 to 2 person companies of installers that maybe want to subcontract. There'll be more support tools through MCS, through manufacturers, through training organisations, through other organisations to support the deployment of heat pumps, selection, design, etc. And there's a level 4 course based on design being developed at the moment. So the level 3 course has been changed and complete, which is for installation. Level 4 course has been pioneered by Exeter University at the moment, and recently went through a pilot scheme. So again, new training release to MCS framework, which is the level 3 courses, which are available now. A level 4 course design, which I've just mentioned, has gone through the pilot, and it's in the stages of being updated, and a discussion between MCS and Exeter University and other stakeholders with regards to really what wants to be seen in a design course. Skip the slide. There's also an industry supported apprenticeship, which has been approved by Institute for Apprenticeships, and that's been pioneered by an MCS employers stakeholder group. That's got buy-in from MCS, GSHPA, HPF, APHC, and many other strings of letters that I could maybe cram together and reiterate, but it's got employers and installers and industry buy-in. This is mainly because apprenticeships that are out there at the moment, they basically, if we're on our 4th apprentice at this point in time, and I have to either send them down the environmental pathway, and they could potentially do rainwater harvesting. But if I send them down the gas route, they get, there's obviously skilled tutors. They've got all the facilities that are needed because gas has been, dominant in our market for years. But a lot of the colleges now don't actually have the skilled tutors. They don't have the facilities, and they're not able to teach some of the skills. And some of that training actually got stripped out. Ground source got taken out of the apprenticeships. So we've been working hard to get that put back into the apprenticeships, and that's what we've achieved this year with the agreement for the work to begin on that, and buy-in from all of the industry stakeholders. So I've just got a question here from Cara, and I'll answer it now. So how many further education colleges are running level 3 courses? I don't have an exact answer for that, Cara, but the colleges which are running level 3 gas courses should be able to run the level 3 industry supported apprenticeship. We don't know whether that's going to be delivered and ready for this September or whether it's going to be next September. But yes, I think the best thing to do would be in the questions and answers, I suppose, if you pose it through in an email later, we can point in the direction of some of the people that are working on that can give you, I suppose, a more detailed response with regards to what stage it's at, when it's going to be ready, and I suppose the requirement for some of the colleges to then be able to deliver that, if that answers your question. So the industry supported apprenticeship, like I said, it's been accepted. Everyone in industry is getting together and behind that to try and make that a success. And I've rattled through that quicker than what I expected. So we've got to the question stage in 8 minutes quicker than I expected. So if you would like to start now posting questions in the Q&A, then I can do my best to answer those. Or if there's anything else in the chat, Stephen, I'm not sure.
Hi, Paul. No, there's nothing in the chat so far. I think it's very good that. It would appear, just give it a couple of seconds, I think everyone has asked all the questions that they want to ask there, Paul, which is great. That means you've covered everything. There you go. Nothing appearing in any of the boxes. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, if that concludes today's webinar, we'll end it there. Just say thank you, Paul, for that. If anyone does want to drop any of us a line, it's info@gshp.org.uk. And just point out as well, on the 22nd of October, which is a Friday, we are having a conference that everyone is welcome to, based just outside of Skipton at the Coniston Hotel. And everyone's welcome to join us there. I've just posted a link in chat of some more details of that if you're interested. Another query has just come through, Paul, actually just now. New build is a big target market. How can the industry break into that market? So
new build, the changes that are coming in the Future Home Standard are going to be imposing more and more stringent requirements. So we've had the carrot with regards to renewable heat incentive, obviously not for building regs and new build, but we've had the gradual build up and the adoption of heat pumps by certain parts of the market. Lots and lots of people understand, builders know about heat pumps and everything now. So with regards to breaking into that industry, the building regulations are changing, which are pushing us more and more towards electricity. And the Future Home Standard is potentially, low carbon technologies only. So whatever would be constituted as low carbon technology, whether that be, a hydrogen hybrid boiler or something, or whether it's going to be a heat pump. I think from a heat pump point of view, the technology is here, it's ready now, it's ready to go, it's proven. From a hydrogen point of view, no disrespect to hydrogen, part of my background's in gas, and I used to work for one of the larger gas boiler manufacturers. But I think that is something that might be quite a while away, not something that's going to be ready immediately. And again, this is something that you have to plan for and deploy. So heat pumps are ready now. There's a plan for deployment, and I think the new build market needs to get ready for the deployment of heat pumps. So another one from Keith, I think I can see, UK government can mandate that public sector buildings have renewable heat systems retrofitted. Will they or are they? My psychic muscle isn't working today, so I couldn't possibly predict whether they're going to do that. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I think public sector buildings, the government could take a lead and demonstrate the right direction to take with this. There aren't really any buildings that aren't suitable for heat pumps. It's just that you have to make sure that the systems are designed properly, just like any type of larger systems. M&E consultants design. If it's down the ground source route, and geologists, hydrogeologists, things like that. There are plenty. We always hear the bad stories about something's gone wrong, one unit's not being done right. But for every one that's been done wrong, there will be 10 that have been done fantastically well. But because you tend to get most of the people in this that are engineers and not marketeers, you tend not to find out about it. And I suppose it's our job at GSHPA and others to start putting these case studies and profiles and positive news out there So another question, is an opportunity for the UK government to be an exemplar, is it not? Absolutely. So they've already demonstrated their appetite to achieve this, and it would be nice to see, instead of a knee-jerk reaction to, right, everything's got to go heat pumps, you know, maybe a staged process, whether they get in touch with organisations like GSHPA and ask advice, whether it's through bays, etc., depending on size of deployment, if it's something that fits underneath MCS scope, if it's something that's much bigger than that. But absolutely, you know, the government's got a role to play. They've defined a target. Put your money where your mouth is, basically, is what I would like to say to them. And yeah, demonstrate the technology. I'm sure they've got plenty of buildings which are near to the River Thames, using a water source heat pump from the River Thames, something like that, or many other rivers around the country where there's government buildings. Absolutely. So I can keep this going till 2 o'clock if you want, because I can talk for England. Somebody's just got to ask a question. Okay, I'll check Q&A. Okay, late question. To make a difference on carbon emissions, heat pumps need to go into existing homes, but most of them are leaky and uninsulated. Is GSHPA putting pressure on government for more retrofit support? So, as part of GSHPA, we have the Heat Pump Federation. Heat Pump Federation is the lobbying arm of GSHPA. And there's other groups as well that we work with. So to answer your question, yes, there are, and we have forever, it's not always a fabric first approach, even though that's something that's bandied around quite a lot. There are some situations where that might not work. So there are low temperature heat pumps, there are high temperature heat pumps. There's the different levels of efficiencies and obviously running costs, etc. But if we have a look at housing stock in general, where there's the Green Homes Grant at the moment, which is looking at insulation and other measures, then yes, there's something going on there with regards to, you know, improving the fabric efficiency of the building, which, you know, we can then run a heat pump at lower temperatures, maybe have a heat pump that's running at a more efficient temperature than what it would if there's, you know, running the heat pump at high temperature from its efficiency point of view, seasonal coefficient performance. But yeah, I agree. Something ideally needs to be done. Yes, we are lobbying. It's not me that's doing the lobbying direct. I can point you in the direction of some of the members that are doing that and give you a more comprehensive answer to that question. But yes, things are being done. There is an electrification of heat group, which we're on, and HBF. There is a retrofit. There's, you know, low carbon homes. Lots and lots of different groups, and I'm hesitating to say different names because I don't want to say some and then not mention others and someone get upset. So yes, is the answer to your question.
I think you're right there, Paul. If I can just put in, you know, is that much work from my point of view, Secretariat, the amount of things that I see happening, it's, you know, quite very, very active. And I'm sorry to harp on about the conference, but I think the conference as well will give us an opportunity to hear some of these people, some of the speakers we are currently negotiating to get at the moment will be very, very key to a lot of this, what you're discussing. And we will announce who we've got coming up near the time, but we are working very hard with a lot of organisations and people to, you know, to bring this message out there. And it's an important message, you know.
Stephen, can you put the date into the chat tab? Cora's asked if we can remind of the dates, but
yeah, certainly. I've put in a link as well. If you just scroll back through the chat to the actual kind of online leaflet we've got for the event, but it's actually on Friday, the 22nd of October. And I think we're being very positive that is going to happen, despite the everything that's going on. So it's nice to have a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, I've just posted it back into chat now. So 22nd of October, And as I say, if you scroll back up through chat, you'll see a link to it. I'll try and share the link again when I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cora, we have some fantastic people at those events, Cora, and there's, we've had people from environmental agency, representatives from when it used to be DEC and, now BAYS, lots and lots of different people, lots and lots of different opportunities to ask questions, lots of different experts there, for everything above ground, below ground, in between, people that deal with policy, people that deal with, the engineering side, design, everyone really, and there won't be anyone, you won't be lacking for someone to be able to answer any of the questions that you've got.
And I've just posted the link again.
Mm-hmm.
Right, any more questions of anyone? We've still got a little bit of time if you do want to answer any questions.
No questions about the weather. Sun shining here in Sheffield, and it doesn't happen that much. I don't want to tempt fate.
No, I think, Paul,
Awesome.
the audience are happy. I think we will wrap up there. So
thanks everyone for attending and for your time. Bye,
again,
everyone.
thank you for attending. As I said, this will be on YouTube, and as I said, just keep your eye on notices as to when we're doing new webinars. We try and do them as often as we can, and please do keep an eye out on emails, etc., when they are.